Hello and good morning, good afternoon, and a very good evening to you, the good people of YouTube. Hope today, hope you're feeling grand and all is well in your world. Hello there, everybody. You'll have to forgive my mood today. I'm in a very emotional place this morning, so bear with me. Okay, so welcome to A&Q Wednesday, everybody. Let's get to question one, shall we? Okay, so question one today is: have you ever tried a Flying V, and what do you think of Albert King? Yeah, I used to own a Flying V. I owned a vintage Flying V, which in all fairness I wish I'd never sold. But, you know, when you need money. So I had to sell it because I needed money, and unfortunately it was the guitar that I played least at that period of time. But it was a black vintage V with gold hardware. It looked like Jimi Hendrix's Isle of Wight V. And it was brilliant. It was like a proper blues guitar. It sounded really bluesy. The humbuckers were really low output, and it just sounded amazing. Funnily enough, I've tried some of the other ones well, not recently, but I tried some other vintage Flying V's of the same model, and not a single one of them spoke to me like that one did. So, you know, kind of lost that one. But again, you know, when you need money, you know, sadly things have to you have to sacrifice things sometimes. But yeah, I've tried a lot of Flying V's. I've tried Gibson Flying V's, Epiphone Flying V's, say the vintage I owned. I really like Flying V's. I think they are one of the definitive blues guitars, and I know that might be a bit weird to say because of, like, you know, the V is heavily rooted in kind of metal, but to me it's one of those ultimate blues guitar. And then, you know, talking about Albert King, you know, well, did he use Flying V, you know, and you know, they really are. They're such a great blues instrument to me, the V. I don't know what it is about it. I don't know why. Every time I pick up a V, I want to play blues on it. I don't feel like I want to play metal or shred or anything like that. When I pick up a V, I want to play blues. You know, I want to play Red House or whatever. You know, I don't really feel the need to want to crank up the gain so much. I like to keep them clean. There's something about a V's cleanish tone. You know what I mean? Like that kind of like half broken up kind of tone that V's have. It's just very special. You know, I've tried a lot of them. It's like Explorers as well. I really like Explorers and Firebirds and Reverse Firebirds. You know, another one of my favourite guitars in the world is a Beastie Rich Mockingbird. I think that's a great blues guitar. I know it's weird to say again, because that is like, you know, big pointy thing from, you know, the Devil's Lavatory, but not in a derogatory term. I actually love that guitar to pieces. It's one of my favourite guitars in the world, and I would love to own one day. It has to be one with all the switches, though. It has to be one with all the switches, the Floyd, and it has to be red. And that comes because of Slash. Anyway, back to V's. But yeah, I really love V's. I reckon they're great guitars. If I didn't have to sell my one when I sold it, I would still have it now, definitely. And if a chance came to get it back, I would get it back. It was just an immense guitar. It's just an immense guitar. I loved it to bits. I gigged it loads. I gigged it all the time. When the trio would go out and we would do bluesy stuff, I would when we'd do a bluesy song in the set in the trio, like Red House or something like that, I would put the V on and play the V. It just had a different angle on it. It's really funny actually as well, because every time you walked into a pub with a Marshall half stack, a big pedal board, and then you brought out a Flying V, people were like, you could see people go, oh no, what's gonna happen here? I actually saw people, like, you know, you could see them despairing of the fact that I got a V and a Marshall half stack, and it was, you know, the bass player had a big Ampeg amp, you know, my brother had a big, you know, and John Joe had his big drum kit, big pedal board, you know, people were like, oh no, we're gonna get some kind of dodgy shred metal band here. And then you'd start doing like Red House on a Flying V for our Marshall half stack. People were like, I wasn't expecting that. It's like, so weird. Anyway, but yeah, I love Flying V's. What do you think of Albert King? Albert King's a great guitarist. I don't like some of the stories I've read about him. There's a story about him and Jimi Hendrix which broke Jimmy's heart, and I think he's very pig ignorant about Albert. But I've heard he wasn't a particularly nice guy anyway. But, you know, that's what I've read. I mean, I don't know the guy, but this is what I've heard. Jimmy held Albert in very high regard, and Albert went to see Jimmy play one night, and he noticed that Jimmy was using pedals to get, different sound and just straight into the amp, which is what Albert did. And there's a quote somewhere online of him saying something along the lines of, I don't know it word for word, like, but it was like something like, oh, he's just full of gimmicks. Jimi Hendrix is just gimmicks. He's got loads of different boxes, and when he stands on them, this happens and that happens, and it's like, it really upset Jimmy because that was one of his heroes, and it was like, it really upset him, and there's no need for that. There's no need to belittle people just because they use something you don't understand, and I think that was where he came from with that. It's like, I don't like that whole purist idea of like, no, you can't have pedals. If you're going to play blues and you're going to play this, you have to be straight into the amp. It's like, no, you don't. You do whatever you want. I don't like the whole purist approach to things. I reckon it's extremely limiting, and also it puts you in a box that you can't get out of. It's a jail cell because you'll never see anything outside of it, and I think it's really bad. I remember having an argument with a guy. Funnily enough, we were playing the Newark Blues Festival. Newark is I don't know if it cast as a city or a town, but it's a city/town thing about an hour and 15 minutes away. I play there quite a lot, and it's a gorgeous place, and it's got a great music scene, awesome venues. And we were doing a gig at one of my favourite places to play called the Fox and Crown, and we were playing the Newark Blues Festival, and there was a guy outside, and he was asking us what we play. And we said, we play Jimi Hendrix and stuff like that. And he was like, well, why are you here then? And I was like, what do you mean, why am I here? And he was like, well, you're not blues, are you? I said, Jimi Hendrix played blues. What about Red House? And he was like, that's not blues. And I was like, it's 12-bar blues, mate. It's blues. And he was like, no, it's not. And I said, okay, what about their Red Hot by Robert Johnson? That's not 12-bar blues. Would you say Robert Johnson isn't blues? And he was like, well, that's different, isn't it? I said, no, it's not. It's no different. I said, it's no different whatsoever. I don't like that. I reckon that's a silly approach, and it's very blinkered. You know what I mean? Because their Red Hot isn't, is blues. Of course it is. It isn't not blues. There's also other songs that that are one chord. You've got Smokestack Lightning, just E. It doesn't go anywhere. It stays in E. That's not 12-bar blues, because he said that his words were, if it doesn't go around if it's just not a 12-bar, then it's not blues. But when I mentioned about Red House being a 12-bar, he's like, it's not blues, it's rock. And I was like, happily he didn't stay and watch us, which I was very happy about, because people like that can just, bye. I'm not interested in your, if you're willing to fight your argument based on the fact that Jimi Hendrix's Red House isn't blues, or Robert Johnson's their Red Hot is blues, but it's not blues, but it is, but that's a different thing altogether, you have no basis. In which case, I'm not going to argue, because I won't win, but I don't need to. If that makes any sense. I don't know. Sorry, I'm just in a bit of a funny mindset today, but I don't like that purist approach to kind of like, to play blues, you can't have pedals, and you can't do this, and you can't run like mass distortion. I tell that to Gary Moore when he does Red House. You know what I mean? I don't know. Gary Moore's version of Red House is like one of the most insanely bluesy things in the world. And Rory Gallagher as well, when he does I Wonder Who and the Belfast gig. Loads of distortion, but my God, is it? Yeah, that's blues, man. But it's like, oh no, it's not blues, that's rock. It's not. But he kind of shot himself in the foot by saying like, if it's not a 12-bar, it's not blues. Because that's so blinkered. That is so blinkered. Because that means that, you could say that status quo is blues then, because all they do is 12-bar blues. But anybody say, oh no, because that's rock. Yeah, but they do 12-bar blues. You know what I mean? You can pick fault in the argument, and it's like, well, you haven't got an argument. If you can pick fault that easily in it, you've got no sway. It's like saying grass is blue. It's like, well, no, it's not. It's green. No, it's blue. I know it's blue. And you take them outside to the grass, and it's like, well, what colour is it? And they can't stand there and go, well, it's blue, unless colourblind. But you know what I mean. I don't know. Maybe I'm talking nonsense. I don't know anymore. I'm sorry, everyone. But yeah. Anyway, back to. I'm in a funny place today. I'm in a very funny place in my brain. But yeah, back to Albert King. What do I think of Albert King? I really love his guitar playing and love his guitar tone, but I don't like that kind of like he was. That he wasn't like some of these other blues guys who you hear are like just like lovely people. I've heard a lot of stories about Albert King. He was a bit of a miserable old sod. You know what I mean? It wasn't like Muddy Waters or John Lee Hooker or any of these kind of people. He was very kind of, or BB King for that matter, you know. He was a bit miserable. Yeah, whether that was the case or not, I don't know. I'm not saying anything. I'm just going by what I've read. But I do know for a fact that he said that about Jimmy, and it really upset Jimmy, and that's just not cool. You know, you don't belittle people who look up to you, you know, in any way, shape, or form. If they do something that you don't understand, then you just say, I don't understand it, but that is brilliant. You know what I mean? Because Jimmy was brilliant, and he was taking it in a totally different direction. And you know, Jimmy could still plug straight into an amp and blow the world away without pedals, but he needed those things to excel himself and grow himself, you know what I mean? Anyway, I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to move on now, everybody, to question 2. But hope I answered your question, sorry. If it hasn't, I'm really sorry. So, question 2. There's quite a few bits to question 2, so I'm going to have to move fairly quickish through it, because question 3 and 4 are going to be quite involved as well. So, bear with me. Okay, so question 2 today is, what was your reaction when you were invited to Andertons? Shock. Total shock. When I got the message from Lee saying, would you be interested in coming down and doing an interview with Andertons? I was just like, honestly, until I got there, I thought I was in the back of my mind, I was a 50-50 whether it was a scam. I was almost like, I knew it wasn't, but I was almost like, you know, this is a scam. When I get down to Andertons on the day of the interview, I'm going to get there and they're going to say, I don't know who you are. You know, what are you doing here? You know, there was like a part of me that goes, you know, somebody's hacked into Lee's thing and they're playing a joke on me. You know what I mean? Because they know that I like Andertons and I watched the thing and it would mean a lot to me. It's like I almost felt like, you know, it was a joke. But again, that's my insecurities coming out there. That's my fear of things going wrong or not being what they are. You know what I mean? It's that thing. But it was real and it did happen, which is still crazy to me now. But yeah, when I first got the email, I was just like, this is insane. I immediately was like, yes. You know what I mean? There was no hesitation in me kind of going, well, let me just check my schedule. It was yes, no ifs, no buts. Yes, I'll be there. So yeah, it was amazing. The reaction was one of shock and awe. You know, it really was. I couldn't believe it. I still can't believe it that such a, you know, a channel that I've looked up to and a channel that got me into doing the YouTube thing in the first place actually wanted me to go down and appear on their channel. To this day, it blows my mind, and I'm so grateful to Lee and Pete and you know and the opportunity to do it. It blows my mind. It blows my mind, and that is, you know, that will be. I remember driving away and saying to my sister, I was like, that did happen, right? That isn't a dream. That did actually just happen, right? I can't, because it was so surreal. It's so surreal. Anyway, but yeah, it was amazing. It was an absolute kind of like, you know, it's like a dream, another dream come true. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, that's a dream come true. You know, the 62 Strat is a dream come true. You know, this channel and you lot are a dream come true. You know, guitar is a dream come true, you know, and then that was just another thing. It's just these little things, and it's just like, wow. You know what I mean? And if you knew where I was the day before I got the email from Lee, mentally, yeah, polar opposites. It's such a weird thing. It's such a weird thing that happened, but really, really cool. Anyway, you also asked, how was it being interviewed? Utterly terrifying. People have asked me loads and loads and loads to do a video on this. You know, what was it like? I don't remember what it was like. I remember getting to Andertons and seeing the shop, and it was weird to see the shop in person. And then seeing Lee for the first time was bizarre. It made me physically jump. Seeing him in person is so bizarre, and I actually physically jumped. I went, oh! It was like, you know, it was like a jump scare thing. It's like literally kind of like, holy hell, that's him. That's actually him. That's the guy I watch every week on YouTube and have watched since, you know, 2007 or whatever it was, 8, 9. Well, no, I can't remember when it was, but yeah, you know what I mean. And well, it had been later than that, but you know what I mean. Anyway. I can't think straight, but my timeline's a bit of a skew there. But yeah, but I don't remember it. I don't remember any of the interview. Like I said, I remember going around to the I remember going to the studio. I remember walking into the room, the Andertons room where they do all the videos, and the moment I walked into that room, I just kind of checked out. You know, I was so overstimulated. My brain was like, I can deal with the interview. I can deal with playing. We can get through the interview and everything like that. But I can't remember any of this. It's too much for me to take in. Because I said to my sister, like, when we left, I still wasn't able to look at the room and not feel weirded out by it. So it was really one of those things of like, I can't remember. I honestly can't remember what it was like. I remember it was absolutely terrifying. And there was a point in the interview where I was sat and we were talking away. But I don't remember it. I don't remember, but there was a point in the interview where all of a sudden it dawned on me that I was sat in the same seat and space that Steve Vai was sat in when he did his Andertons Meets video. And I was like, holy hell. And then there was like John Petrucci, and then there was like Paul Gilbert and Joe and Shaw Taylor, and I'm like, holy hell. And then Robin Ford, and actually I think Robin Ford was in a different room. But then there was like people like Albert King, and I'm like, I can't hack this, and it's like, holy hell. So it was just like, I don't remember it. So if anything, if you want to ask what it was actually like in thingy, you have to ask my sister, because I don't remember it. I remember leaving, and like me and my sister stopped in a rest area, just like, to get something to eat, because I think that entire day all I ate was like a mini muffin, and like I had a bag of crisps, and that was probably about it. That's probably about all I ate that day. I was that terrified and I was that nervous. What got me through was fizzy drinks. Cans of Coke. I needed the sugar to kind of keep me up and going. But that was literally that's why I've got a can of Coke in the interview. I was like, I needed that sugar to keep me balanced. Otherwise I'd have lost my mind. And it was so hot as well. I remember the heat. I remember it was really hot. Like, it was really, really hot up there. But I don't remember any of the interview. I have a mental image, like it's a still frame image, like if somebody took a picture. I know what it looks like. Like, from my perspective, where I was sat in the interview, I know what it looked like, but I don't remember anything other than that. It's just a total blank, because I was just like totally terrified, absolute flying by the seat of my pants kind of thing, and just absolutely kind of like, checked out, but in like a best way, if that makes any sense. But it was amazing, and like I said, I just can't thank Lee enough ever for having me down, because like I said, I mean, I'm not a big fish. I'm not a big fish really in the YouTube scene. You see people like Paul Davies with like 1 million plus subscribers and stuff like this, and all these people with like bigger channels than this one, and I'm quite small and humble, which is happy about, because I never thought I'd get this far. So like it's crazy. But like, to have me on there was like, wow, like this is. It's like you lot out there. It's never lost on me how important that is to me. It's never lost on me how kind of like how grateful I am. There's not a day goes by that I am not kind of just like super grateful for where I am and what I get to do. There isn't a day that goes by. There just isn't. There isn't a minute. There isn't a second. I'm so grateful, and I'm so aware that I'm a lucky sod, basically, is what I'm trying to say. I am very lucky. So it's crazy. And that kind of brings me quite neatly into the last part of question 2, actually, which is, many people, including myself, put you up there with some of the greatest guitarists ever. How does that feel? It's beyond an honour. When people say, like, the way I see John Frusciante, or the way I see John, or Jimi Hendrix, or Rory Gallagher, or Peter Green, or Mike McCready, is the way they see me. It's beyond an honour to be that person for someone. I can't necessarily understand it. Like I said in the Andertons video, I don't understand it. why people hold me in such high regard, but I'm not supposed to understand it. That's fine. It's all the fact of, like, you know, I accept it because it's extremely honouring to be somebody's guitar hero. Like, to me, it's insane. Like, you know, the way I see John Frusciante, John's my hero. He's my ultimate hero. I'll never meet the man. I'll never meet him. I'll never get to play with him. I'll never get to speak with him. I'll get to talk to him. I'll never get any of that, and I know that. But to know how I feel about, you know, that picture, for instance, to know that feeling of what it's like to look up to somebody, to be in that kind of category is beyond an honour. Like, I can't fathom it, but I'm so honoured. I don't really know what to say about it because I don't really know how to deal with it. You know, when people say, "Oh, you know, massive influence on me and you're my hero," and this, that, and the other, it really, it hits me really hard, and you know, it's a great feeling. It makes me want to, you know, it makes me want to cry in a really good way, because it's like, you know, I can't believe that, you know, after all I've been through, you know, with bullying and mental health problems and suicidal thoughts and attempts and all this kind of horrible crap that I've gone through, I can't believe after all I've kind of been through, like, you know, people can actually hold me in such kind of a high place, and it's so humbling, and I don't really have the words to describe it, to be perfectly honest with you. It's really incredible. When people say, it's like, you know, you're better than John Frusciante, or it sounds like Dave Gilmour, that's like this, or that's like that, and that's this, and, you know, you're up there with. And people rank me in their top kind of like 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 guitarists of all time. It's like, it's not lost on me how incredible that is. It's mind-blowing. I struggle to take it on board because it's so overwhelming. It's such a big thing. But it's never lost on me. Like I say, it's never lost on me. It's so meaningful to me that somebody can see me as what I am, and hold me up there, you know, and say, like, you know, you inspired me to do this, that, and the other. And it's just like, wow. You know what I mean? It's like, I feel like I'm doing something right in my life. Yeah, it's incredible, really. It's just incredible. It's a feeling I cannot quantify. I can't describe what it feels like. I'm pretty sure the words don't exist. If I'm being perfectly honest, I'm pretty positive the words don't exist of what I want to say. It's really hard for me to feel that I do enough on the channel to say thank you. It's really hard to convince myself that I'm always as good as I can be, and I've done enough in the channel to earn it, if that makes any sense. Like, you know, like, I feel like, you know, if someone's going to put me up there like that, I've got to earn that, you know, and I've got to constantly work to be the best me I can be. So and I'll get to something in question 4 about that in a minute, because I won't go any further on that one, but I know I struggle to kind of feel that I am worth anything, and and because of that I do struggle with that, but with other things. But when somebody says, like, you know, you're their hero, and, you know, this, that, and the other, it's hard to fathom, especially with a mindset like mine that's very kind of self-deprecating and very kind of not as negative as it was, but it's still quite negative, if that makes any sense. But yeah, so it's not lost on me. It means the world to me. It really means the world to me. It really does. It's not something I I ever just kind of pass off as a nothing. When somebody says, you inspired me to do this, that, and the other, or you're my guitar hero, you're up there with Jimi Hendrix or John Frusciante, or that the way you see John Frusciante is the way I see you. That is never lost on me, and it really is kind of like, well, I hope I can always be that for you. If that's the way you see me, I hope I can always be that. I hope I don't ever let you down, because I'm terrified of letting you all down. It scares me more than anything in my life. I don't like letting people down, and I don't want to let my friends down or my family down, and I definitely don't want to let you lot down. So I work really hard, and I push myself to try and be as open and as honest, and try and do the best I can, in the videos and my channel for you. I always try and be the best I can, really. So yeah, how does it feel? I can't describe it. It's just incredible. It's really hard for me to describe. I'm pretty sure the words don't exist. I could probably play it for you, but I can't speak it. So yeah. So yeah. So I'm kind of return to that in question 4 actually in a bit, because question 4 is kind of in the same vein. But we're going to move on to question 3 now, and then we'll get back to it. So question 3 is, I'm saving money to buy something at the end of the year. What should I go for? The Zoom G2.IU or Voxwire, Jackhammer and Boss DS2? Judging by the Jackhammer, the Voxwire and the DS2, I'm guessing you kind of after a John Frusciante thing. Or if or something along those lines. So if you have to the John Frusciante thing, I would say go for the Wah, the Jackhammer, and the DS2. Personally, the Zoom will be great, but it won't give you what the Jackhammer and the Boss do, and the Vox does. So if you're to ask me what you're going for, but like I said, I don't really know what you were going for tonally wise, but I'm guessing with the DS2 in there and the Jackhammer, I'm guessing you want kind of a John Frusciante kind of thing. And if that is the case, go for the Voxwire, the Jackhammer, and the DS2. The Zoom is awesome, but if you want that John thing, that's the way you want to be going. So yeah. Yeah. Hope that makes sense. But yeah, so that'd be the way I would go if I was that kind of thing. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna move on to question 4 now. I don't have anything else to say about that. I'm in a very kind of funny mood today. Something I'm just gonna tell you. My friends from France sent me some things today, and it's really it's made me very kind of emotional in a good way, not in a bad way at all. Like I'm so humbled by it. Again, I don't take anything for granted. I don't like the idea of taking things for granted, and especially not when people really show they care. But I'll not explain another time in another video. It's not the right time to explain it right now. Why I struggle with that, but I'll explain it another time. Anyway, I'm going to move on to question 4 now, but that's the reason I'm in a kind of like a very highly emotional mood today. Like, it's super highly emotional. I'm very, very up there today. But it's a good thing. It's not, it's not a bad thing. I'm a bit kind of like, it probably, I don't know if it come across as a bit like I'm upset or sad. I'm not sad. I'm so far from it. I am just super grateful for so much, and sometimes it comes out like this. Okay, so final question to everybody. Question 4. Do you feel or have you felt like you hold? Sorry, let me start again because I can't read my own horrific writing. Okay, so do you feel or have you ever felt like you hold back some parts of yourself so you may preserve a sense of peace in your environment when there's conflict? Okay, so basically, yeah, do I keep anything internal for myself? No, I don't want to. I don't want to be a clam, an emotional clam at that. I don't want to be this. I want to be that. Especially with guitar and music and you lot and friends and family. I don't want to be that guy who's just shut up emotionally, because I've been there, I've done that, and it brought nothing but heartache and all sorts of horrible problems I do not want to be in and do not want to be. So no, I don't hold anything back. I am what I am. If there's a conflict with the fact of who I am, then I can't do anything about that. If somebody doesn't like me or doesn't like the way I look or the way I play or my guitar tone or the way I dress or whatever, I can't do anything about that. And as such, I don't care. You know what I mean? And no one should. If somebody doesn't like you for the way you look or this, that and the other, that's their problem. It's not your problem. Don't make it. You know, let them get on with it. As long as they're not actively trying to come and, you know, beat you up. You know, just pass it off. I get comments every day saying you need to cut your hair, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do the other. No, I don't. You think I need to. I don't. And I have the final say because I'm me. And that's the way it works for every single one of us. It's not what people tell us to do. It's about what we want for ourselves. It's not about people saying, "Oh, you've got to do this and you've got to do that." No, you don't. You don't have to do anything. If you don't want to do it, you don't do it. You know. It's like I always say when people say, "Oh, what guitar should I buy?" Buy what you want. You know, I can recommend guitars to you, but all I am is a guide. I am not, I said this to my friend Nicole the other night. I was like, we were talking about kind of like teaching guitar and stuff like this, and I said like, all I am is a guide. You know, I can point you down different roads and guide you in a direction if you want to go. But you're the one who's got to walk the road. You know, I can't walk it for you and I can't walk it with you. You're the only one who can do that. I've got my own one to walk. So at the end of the day, I can only take you so far. You have to go the rest of the way yourself. And because of that, you have to be very open and honest about what you want. So if somebody says, "Oh, you need this," and you don't like it, you go, "Well, I don't want it." You know, regardless of what it is. You know, it's like you can't just kind of like, you can't falsify your feelings to appease somebody else. It's not good for you, and you're compromising yourself in that respect. I don't like the idea of that. I'd much rather kind of like, is it Kurt Cobain who said like, I'd rather be hated for what I am than than liked for who I'm not? And I think it's Kurt, isn't it? Yeah. And it's like, that's words to live by right there. You know, why would you want to be liked for someone who you're not? You know, because then it's just false. You know, you're not you. In which case, when you meet people, you have to put on a mask, and you have to be that instead of this, which is what you are. You know, so if you're not this, that, and the other, and you go into a situation where you have to put on a mask, it's tiring because you can't sustain it. This is what I've always tried to do with this channel. Is kind of like I've always tried to be really open and honest about it. It's like, if I feel happy, I'm gonna show you I'm happy. If I feel sad, I'm gonna show you I'm sad. If I'm angry, I'm gonna show you I'm angry. If I'm upset or whatever, I'm gonna show you it because that's the way I am. That's the way I am in life. If I'm in a silly mood, which happens a lot because I'm a silly sod. Because again, I grew up with Rick Mail. I love Rick Mail and Ade Edmondson, and Rick's one of my heroes. And I get a bit kind of I get a bit choked up about Rick Mail because he is a massive hero of mine. And I had a funny I'm going to go off on one for a second just because I had a dream. The day he died, the day he passed away, and I had a dream that night. And it was me, my brother, and my sister, and my dad. We went to a book signing or a meet and greet with Rick, and it was in this like local pub. And this pub was on like a waterfront. So out the back of the pub was like a river, and it had like houseboats on it, and it was a really sunny day. I remember we met Rick, and he was just exactly what Rick was. You know what I mean? Everyone who's met him or I've spoke to said the way he is the way he was. What he was is what you got. You know what I mean? He was that funny kind of massively confident human being, over the top in every way, and that's what Rick Mail was. He was what he is, and he never went against that. He was brilliant. And anyway, I remember like we met him, and I was saying like and he signed something, and he signed something for me. I forget what it was, but I remember at one point I was sat out the back on this kind of like, it was like an open kind of back bit where the back of this pub opened up onto this kind of like beer garden-y kind of thing. It was open air, and at the back of that was like a railing, and then there was a river with houseboats on it. That's how clear this dream was. And we were sat there, and we were just talking away, and there was this one point, if I'm Rick Mail and you're me, it was kind of like, this is like we were sat, and the river was here. And it was from my perspective, so you're me technically, and I'm Rick Mail. I wish. Anyway, I'm joking, but you know what I mean. We were talking away normally, and then all of a sudden he did this, and he put his arm up like that onto this metal railing. It was black metal railing, and he just looked over, and there was a building across the way. He just looked over, but he wasn't looking at the building. You could see he was just gone away. You know what I mean? There was, when people kind of have that kind of stare where they're looking at something, but they're not actually seeing what they're looking at, if that makes any sense. He just kind of did that. And he said, "Isn't it sad I'm not really here?" And that to me that's hard to deal with. And also I remember waking up and realising it wasn't real, and whatever he signed doesn't exist, and and I'll never get to meet him. It's the same with Peter Green. I really would have loved to have met Peter Green, and I really wanted him to sign my Lemon Drop. I really wanted him to sign that. It was like it's kind of one of the things I was like, I really want to meet Peter Green. And when I do, I want him to sign the headstock of a Lemon Drop. And knowing that can't happen now it's a hard pill to swallow, man. So my friend Charlie, and also knowing the fact I'll never meet John Frusciante and play with John Frusciante, and never get to. I won't get to play Scar Tissue on stage with the Chili Peppers and stuff like that, you know what I mean? But stuff like that is, that's okay, because that's just far-fetched anyway, but, But no, when it comes down to keeping things to myself, I don't want to keep anything to myself. I'd rather kind of like, be open as I can be, and at certain times when I feel like I can be open. There are some things I won't say straight away, and it'll take a bit of time for me to kind of get round to, but I do try and be as open as possible with anyone and everyone, because I would rather be that way. And I was having this conversation a couple of months ago with my mum. I was feeling suicidal again, and there was one day where that nearly happened, and but I said to my mum, I said, like, I'd rather me be able to say I feel suicidal to anyone. I'd rather be able to tell that to somebody and then they know how I'm feeling than keep it inside and not tell anybody, because one day I just won't come home if that's the case. Whereas if people know that's the way I'm feeling, they can look for the signs and they can keep a close eye on me. And I'd much prefer that. That makes me feel a lot more comfortable in myself and what I do, than me just going, I'm fine, when inside I'm like, I'm just going to go and jump off a cliff. So I try and be as open as possible, and music and the guitar has given me the ability to do that as well, without being able to, without having to talk. Because I feel that, like, if you're open in yourself, then you're open in music. And if you're open in music, then music will find you and it will come through you and it will tell you what to do. And again, submitting to all this kind of thing. You got to submit to it. Let it take you. It knows better than you do. You know what I mean? It'll always know better than... Music will always know better than we will. As we are literally just a marionette at the end, on the strings. That's all we are. We're just a conduit. Whatever it is, whatever music is, this higher power of music, it comes from somewhere else, and it comes through us when it needs to. It's not always going to happen. It's like when you hit writer's block. If you hit writer's block, don't write. Just let it go. It's fine. You don't need to write. Because it's not your time. It will come back around again. Like my friend Ian said to me. He said, like, things are out here. This is what things do. They're out here and they're nowhere near you. And then one day, things come together, and all of a sudden you've got so much to write about, and then once that's done, they break apart again. And then you have to wait for them to come back together again, but they will come back together, and you just have to just wait and be patient with that. You know, it's just one of those things you have to wait. But sense of peace. My sense of peace is being open, because I like to be open with people. I like to know I can be around people that I can be open with, and I can tell people exactly how I feel, and as a result, they can help me if I need help, or they understand where I am. I would much rather be that way than kind of like, be that person I was for many years of, oh, I'm fine, it never helped me, it never worked, don't do it, do not be an emotional clam. You've got to open up, you've got to tell people, you've got to listen to people, you've got to help people, you've got to be there for people, you've got to tell people you love them and you care. You've got to. There is no point burying your head in the sand. You're going to miss out on everything. And it's no good being emotional, what's the word I'm looking for? It's no good being like emotionally like silent. I won't say anything. It's like that's not going to help you. It's not good. It's really bad. You've got to let it out. Just get it out of you. Let it out. Free yourself. So no, I don't like to keep anything of myself inside. And like say, if there's conflict with anything, it's like, what you see is what you get. Depending on what's going on, what you see is what you get. And I don't like the idea of having to wear a mask. I don't want to wear different clothes. I don't want to have to. If I want to do a video and my hair's a mess, I don't want to have that thing of like, oh, but I'm going to have to sort my hair out before this, and I'm going to have to do this, and I'm going to have to do that, and I'm going to have to put some good clothes on. I don't want that. That's not what I'm in it for. You know what I mean? It's like, I dress like I dress because this is what I'm comfortable in. You know what I mean? And I'm liking the long beard because it hides my neck, because I've got a huge, massive complex about my neck. Again, stemming from I've got problems. If I could wear gloves and a mask and cover every part of me all the time, I would do it. I really would, and I honestly mean that. It's like if I could wear a balaclava all the time, or even then, like if I could wear balaclava and glasses and wear gloves and just get away with that, I would do it. But you can't get away with that. You have to have, unfortunately, certain parts of you on show, so to say. But I don't like it. I don't like these kind of things. So when people say like, oh well, this, that, and the other, why don't you cut your hair and this, that, and the other, you'd feel better. It's like, no, I wouldn't. I would feel worse. Because as much as I have no confidence in myself, I actually like the way I look, because this is what I feel like I should look like, because this is what I've always looked like. I wear hoodies and I wear, combat trousers, and Adidas Sambas and stuff like that. I've worn this style of clothes for years. Years and years and years. You can go back to pictures of me into like 2008 and 2004 and stuff like that, and I'm wearing the same style of clothes. I don't feel the need. I feel this is me, and I feel comfortable in these. If I put other clothes on, I don't feel comfortable in them. Whereas with these kind of things, I'm comfy. You know what I mean? Like I say, I do have a problem with kind of like, I don't have a problem with my hair. Everybody, quite a lot of people have a problem with my hair. I don't. I don't have a problem with my hair at all. I actually like having my hair the way it is. I like it. I have a problem with my face. I think I'm an ugly sod. I hate the way I look facially. And also, I just don't like me in a way. I like me, but I don't like me. You know what I mean? So it's really hard to explain that one. But like I said, I am what I am, and I like being that, you know what I mean? And I like the fact that when I meet people, I don't have to put on a mask, because if people see, if I am what I am in these videos, then if I ever meet any of you, then that's what I am. And that makes so much more sense to me than kind of like, trying to be something I'm not. And then just kind of putting on like a facade. It's just wrong. It seems stupid. And it was one of the things that I kind of always thought when I first started doing the YouTube channel was like, be yourself. Be what you are. Be stupid, uncomfortable, awkward. Say stupid things. And, You know, when you're upset, be upset. When you're angry, this and the other. And you know what I mean? So I was just, I'd rather be that way. You know, I'd rather be me. I just want to be me. You know, I have problems with me, but who doesn't? You know, who can actually turn around and 100% say, I love every part of me? Well, actually, yeah, come to think of it, I've met a few people in my life who could definitely say that. But, you know, but inside, you know, they're not. They're not happy. It's an illusion, you know. Normally people with kind of that kind of huge ego of like, you know, I am literally perfect. I'm sure we've met quite a few people like that in our lives. You know, they're not. In all fairness, I think people who think they're perfect are the most imperfect people in the world because of their ego. They're so self-aware, but they're not aware. You know what I mean? And they don't take any. They take themselves as like priority, and everything else is secondary. When it should always be the other way around. You know, you are secondary to everything else. You know, there's that Miyamoto Musashi quote about that. You know, consider yourself lightly, consider the world deeply, and it's like, you know, I don't think that's word for word, but it's that thing of like, you know, everything is bigger than you, so don't think you're above it. But at the same time, in the words of Rick Mayall, everyone is equal, so no one can ever be above you, and that's again perfect. You know, no one can ever be a superior to you. Because we are all on this level. Doesn't matter if they've got more money or more skill or more whatever, or they can do this on guitar, or they can do that with this, or they can do whatever. It doesn't matter. They're never going to be above you because they're still tied by the same laws and limitations of being a human being like all of us. You know, they can't be. They can be technically better, but it doesn't mean that they're great, that you can do something I bet they can't. But again, it doesn't make any difference because we're all on that same level. You know, so just, you know, you just accept things for what they are and just kind of like, you know, be who you are, be open, be honest, be brutally honest if you've got to be, and just be really keyed into what you are. And don't bend yourself to try and fit into molds you don't fit into. It's so silly to kind of... I did it. It doesn't work. Trust me. I've been there, done it. It doesn't work. I tried to bend myself into molds I don't fit into. And it, again, left me with nothing but heartache and problems and just so many issues. You know what I mean? Stemmed from trying to bend myself into a... You know, trying to hammer myself... You know, I'm a square peg trying to get into a round hole. You know what I mean? The only way you can get into it by breaking yourself off, you know, and that's not a good thing to do. So don't do that. Be who you are. You know, obviously within certain reasons. You can't go around punching people in the face because you enjoy it. You kind of thing. But you know what I mean? When it comes down to emotions and stuff like that, you've got to be emotionally open, I believe. And I reckon it's not a good thing to be kind of like stoic and kind of like, you know, like, I don't show emotion. I don't do that. It's like, yeah, that's not good. Especially if you're a musician, it's definitely not good. As a musician, you have to put it all out there, warts and all. You know what I mean? You have to be honest because people will smell it if you're lying. You've got to be honest. You've got to mean it. You know, because people will pick it up if you're talking nonsense or you're not what you are, especially live. If you're not invested, man, I'll tell you, people can tell it. Look at John Frusciante at those last Chili Peppers gigs before he quit, or even the Blood Sugar Sex Magic era gigs are the same. 2007 to 91, 92. Look at John. He don't give a monkeys, and you can see he doesn't give a monkeys, and because he doesn't, it's got a bad vibe, man. A bad vibe. So you just you don't click as much as you would if they were happy. So so you gotta be open, you gotta be honest, and don't compromise yourself for something else. You know what I mean? It's not worth it. It's not worth it at all. You can't compromise your beliefs and your inner being for someone or something else. You've got to be honest and true to what you are. There is no point just kind of like going, oh well, I better not be that way because it's not accepted socially or this, that, and the other. If you're happy being what you are, again within reason, be that way. I'm happy with who I am. I'm just not happy with my face or other things, but I am happy in who I am. Am I content? No, but who is? I'm content in the fact of I get to do what I want for a living because of you lot, and that brings me such peace that I've never had. It's so going back to question 2, it's so overwhelming to have that. I am not kind of like I'm not satisfied in me, but everything else is I am. I don't know if that makes any sense. Like what I do here, I love, and I'm satisfied. I'm so happy with, but in me, I feel I've got to do more, and I can't do anything about my face. This is what I've got. Tough luck. I don't think I'll ever particularly like the way certain things about me are, but that's okay. But like I say, I still would like to wear a mask. If I'd known how to start YouTube, I would have done the bucket head route and worn a mask. But such is life. But yeah, so now I want to be open. I want to be honest. I don't want to lie. Like I say, this is the reason I don't demo gear I don't like. I don't see the point in being negative on something, because what works for me will work for somebody else. So me saying, "Oh, this is rubbish," doesn't mean anything to anybody else but me. If that makes any sense. Like it's like when people say like I tried your settings and it didn't work. Of course it doesn't. You're not me. You've not got my guitars, you've not got my gear, you've got my pedals, you've got my amps. Everything's different. And as a result, you have to use these things as jumping off points to go, right, okay, that's a starting point. What else do I need to get it to work for me? So you've got to be open and learn. You've got to learn things. You know what I mean? You've got to really be open and really take the time and effort and learn things. So yeah. So no, I don't keep anything private. I will eventually say. Well, saying that I've pretty much said everything on this channel. There are a few things I'd like to say, but again, it's all about the right time as well. You can't just go kind of blurting and diving into things helpful ever just because. It's got to be the right kind of time to do it. And again, if you are open and free with these things, you will know when that's right. You know what I mean? You will know, and and you just got to take that. You just got to be brave, and you've got to take that chance, and you've got to put it out there, and you've got to have the courage to stand on that pedestal and say, "This is me. This is what I am." Take it or leave it. You know what I mean? I can't do anything about the way I am or who I am. This is what I am. So if you don't like it, the door's over there. If you like it, then stay. You know what I mean? It's simple. It's very simple in a way. It's hard to cope with and deal with sometimes, but it's better to be that way, I think. I personally feel anyway. For what that's worth. Anyway, everybody, I'm going to get off because I'm going to run out of time. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this NQ. I hope some of it's made some kind of sense. I know it's been a lot of waffle, but hopefully it made some kind of sense, and I hope there's something in there. Anyway, thanks for your questions, everybody. And if you want to submit a question for Q&A Wednesday, description box below has an email link. Email me there. And I'll see you again for another video on Friday. Until then, have a great morning, afternoon, good evening, everybody. And like I say, be who you are. Remember the Kurt Cobain quote. You don't have to like Kurt Cobain to know that this quote's real. Of like, what is it? Being somebody else is a waste of who you are. It's so true. And also the other quote that I mentioned earlier on of I'd rather be hated for who I am than liked for who and loved for who I'm not. You know what I mean? That's so true. I would rather people don't like me for what I am than me put on a mask so they like me. Like I say, I've been there and done that, and I've got the t-shirt, and it's rubbish, and it's fallen apart, and it's not worth it. So just be who you are. You know what I mean? Be happy. Just try and be as happy as you can. So yeah. Anyway, I hope that made some kind of sense. Anyway, so yeah. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Really, I'll see you again soon. Have a great morning, afternoon, good evening. Goodbye now. Thank you.